The following audio is via a Skype call.
Welcome to the hit show Sheer Alchemy with Leslie Fonteyne on TransformationTalkRadio.com. Get ready to stir up your passions, identify your blocks, and shift into an entirely new existence. Just say yes to explosive abundance. Leslie Fonteyne is a transformation catalyst and clairvoyant who uses her intuitive and energetic gifts to catapult listeners into living the life they were born to live. Whether it's shifting from scarcity to abundance, from emotional pain into joy, or from illness into health, Leslie will help you step into the true essence and power of all that you are with the help of the Ascended Masters and Archangels. You will not be the same. Now, here's your host, Leslie Fonteyne.
What a show we have today. This is Leslie Fonteyne. This is Sheer Alchemy. And why do we call it that? I love to say this each and every time. We call it that because we have the opportunity to transform and shift our lives with energies and vibrations that in many ways 50 years ago, 100 years ago, weren't really known about by most people. You know, we went to therapy, maybe we went to therapy for years and years, and I totally advocate good therapy and coaching. But this is another dimension to experiencing the higher levels of ourselves. We all have had multiple lifetimes before this one, and here we are with an opportunity to clear, to shift, to step into our best selves, to connect with our higher self. And what better segue into today's topic, relationships part 2. The last show we did on relationships was hugely popular, got a lot of feedback on the topic. And I think the reason is that we are talking about relationships from the standpoint of the one we have with ourselves, not just your personality level, not just your persona, but also your higher self, and connecting all the way back to source, if you like. This is your essence, your truth, who you are. And there's a part of your soul, it never changes all the way through. There are circumstances and situations and things that we can change in our lives, but there is that pure essence of our truth, our soul path, that remains constant. So today what we're going to talk about is maturing into self-love and having the best. You know, ultimately, we want closeness in our relationships. We want connection. That's why we did it in the first place, right? We met someone, whether it was a romantic relationship or a friendship, and we want a closeness that almost feels like our own skin, feels like this one knows us better, you know, than we know ourselves, or is almost like having a soulmate. And we're going to talk about this soulmate business and the twin flame business, because it's really important for us to understand what that is like in our lives. I think some people use the words, but don't really understand what they are inviting into their lives for soul growth. And so we're definitely going to talk about that. But when we go into a relationship, we're desiring nurturing and love and joy and fun and connection and depth of conversation and all those things that make us feel, you know, alive and connected and loved. So ultimately, these are the things that are a part of ourselves already, that they're inside. But what happened in coming into Earth School for many of us is that we disassociated from that part of ourselves. And I'm not saying you just do love all by yourself, but when we came into Earth School, we started externalizing. And so we had the external parent, we had the external teachers, we had the external bosses, the external boyfriends and girlfriends and friends, and so many of the other relationships that we create in the world. And so it became that thing out there and not this thing in here. So we started seeking outside ourselves for that affirmation, for that consolation, that warmth, that nurturing, you know, that love. And if we stay in that place, then we're constantly looking outside. Another aspect of this is that when we attract into our lives, we're drawing in a relationship that is reflecting ourselves, where we're at. It could be reflecting old agreements in our field, things that we have done over and over and over again. You've heard me call it same energy, different outfit. We keep, they may look completely different, and then within 6 months, we notice the same dynamics. I've even seen in myself where I can catch something that was a part of the relationship that I had with my father, and I throw that on any partner that I meet, and this partner has not one thing to do with that pattern, not one thing. So when we're really honest and we're telling ourselves and we notice these agreements and we notice these contracts, we then have to ask ourselves, am I done with it? Am I ready to shift and go higher in some of this? So we're going to talk about the agreements we have in our field and what we're ready to release. Sometimes what we have right now is this amazing launch pad. It's this jumping off point. It's this thing that we've drawn that has worked for us up until now, perhaps. And now we want to shift the energy. And before any of you go off thinking that I'm talking about leaving your partner and you've got to change this whole dynamic and go find someone else and be by yourself like a hermit somewhere in a cave, before you go off on that, I want you to understand that all I have talked about so far is changing the agreement and upgrading your vibration. That's it. I didn't say leave. I didn't say throw away the keys. I didn't say abandon, and I didn't say sabotage so they abandon you. I didn't do any of that. So we need to understand what it means, because for many of us, as I've talked before, when we talk about shifting agreements and changing our attraction points, we become very frightened because that inner child in us, that core fear, that core terror of not being loved, of not having something in our lives, gets triggered immediately. And we retrench back into an old comfort zone, an old place where we can stay safe and feel safe. So this is about taking some of the fear off, because there's a part of your soul, back to that part of you that remains constant, that is wanting to express the best you, stand in your highest, most wonderful self. And these things are coming up, let's say, where you feel disrespected or diminished or talked to in a certain kind of way, or there's a negative chord going on between you and someone. And this thing comes up and it looks really ugly. It looks like it's not something you want in your life. So the opportunity here is for us to shift through that and go, wow, this thing has showed up because my soul, my higher self, is ready for me to deal with this, is ready for me to shift. It's a gift. It's an opportunity. It is not trashing of my life. It is not throwing everything out, baby with the bathwater. It is about choosing my highest good. And we all know that when we choose our highest good, our higher selves, we give the opportunity to everyone around us to do the same. Isn't that great? We give everybody else the opportunity to step into their best selves. Now, it may look messy and ugly while they're doing it. They may not like it that you suddenly flip the switch and change the rules, but give them a moment. I call this getting the memo. You got the memo. Within yourself, you decided to shift, to step into something better and higher, to learn to protect your field, to attract from a higher place. But the other person doesn't know that you did this, so they've just gotten the notice. Give them a little time to adjust. Try not to react while they're adjusting. That makes for a really good fight, right? Don't do that. But allow yourself to look at the gift that's been presented to you, wherever you've said, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm done with this. I'm ready to step into something else. And by the way, this could be with children too. Allow yourself to shift into this and then give everyone else a chance to adjust. Because beyond this, it's not just about going off and having your own space and creating your own boundaries. It's about learning how to create energetic boundaries wherever you are, so that you're not bandied about by everybody's moods and everybody's, demands and their coerciveness and manipulation. If manipulation's been a part of your life from the day you were born and very likely other lifetimes, it's showing up today. If coercion and people-pleasing and codependency and enabling and fixing are all part of your life, your whole life, and you learned that as a child with your parents, it's showing up now because you're ready again. I call it one more time around Mount Sinai. Now's the time for you to shift one more time. And you may move the needle just a little bit, just a few points. Congratulations. That's awesome. Okay? Sometimes we're looking for outward changes, something dramatic on the outside, like leaving a relationship, leaving a job, doing a geographical cure, whatever. And the biggest shift and transformation is within yourself. It's on the inside of you. And watch what happens as you do it. As you shift within, everything around you shifts. It's powerful. You have to do it to believe it. You have to practice it to believe it. When you go to the gym and you learn new exercises and then you're really sore the next day, it doesn't mean that those exercises were bad. It means you were out of shape and you are conditioning, and then you push and push and push. We are talking about a new muscle, a new technology for your energy field, for your relationship attractors within your field, so that you can start drawing into you what your heart desires, what you truly desire, what your soul is crying out for. All right? And we don't just go into the abandonment mechanism that we experienced, growing up. That is not what we're doing. We're allowing the shift, and we're giving everybody an invitation to come along. So that's what we're talking about today. We're talking about maturing in love, which ultimately is maturing into self-love. And let me tell you, self-love is not selfish. Self-love is really nurturing our essence, and many of us didn't learn how to do that. So I'm very excited about this show. This is Leslie Fonteyne. We're talking sheer alchemy, and if you want to call in today, the number is 800-930-2819, 800-930-2819. This is an awesome topic today. We are going to go where some of us have not even been willing to articulate some of our pain, but understand what it is from a spiritual perspective, an energetic perspective, and let's see what we can do today. The outcome is going to be fantastic.
Almost everyone at some time in their lives ask themselves, what am I? Most of our questions are ego-generated and simply don't address the problem of our false self. It's time to relax your ego and embody your soul. Dr. Dan Cohen, neurologist, inventor, and author, has created tools to awaken, a new way to transform from who you thought you were into what you truly are. Visit toolstoawaken.com today.
Get ready to experience Truth Talk Radio with host Deb Acker. Tune in to Truth Talk Radio each Wednesday at 3 p.m. Pacific on TransformationTalkRadio.com to illuminate the truth in your daily life as you experience life, love, and abundance from a whole new perspective. This hit show will leave you feeling lighter and bring you into a place of infinite possibilities every day in every way. Visit TruthTalkRadioshow.com for upcoming transformative topics and guests.
Awaken to your radiant, authentic self. For over 15 years, Soul Purpose Advocate Nancy Monson has been focused on leading change in the lives of those looking to live their true purpose. She is devoted to supporting people in living a soul-directed life every day. Let Nancy help you overcome fear, worry, and doubt. Visit everydayspirituality.com to learn how Nancy can be your soul purpose advocate. Holistic Medical Center is where you find it all. A healthy space with doctors who care, see, and listen to the whole you. Hi, this is Dr. Darvish. If you have not found an answer to your chronic symptoms, you will find answers here at Holistic Medical Center. Our doctors find the root cause of your symptoms and guide your body towards healing naturally. We transform lives from within. Visit drdarvish.com or call 425 888-451-0404.
Artie Hoffman is the hottest psychic with the warmest heart and the host of the hit show Angels and Answers. A renowned psychic, medium, spiritual life coach, and an entertaining motivational speaker, Artie has helped over 15,000 people with his amazing intuitive gifts, his passion, and his humor. Call 877-ANGEL-02 to schedule a personal reading or to have your own psychic Artie party. That's 877-ANGEL-02. And visit artiehoffman.com and Angels and Answers on Facebook.
Wow. Hey, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to the Dr. Pat Show. This is Talk Radio to Thrive By. I'm telling you, I got to pinch myself some days because when each of us gets called to do something that we so not thought was in our wheelhouse to do for a purpose that's so much greater than us, we get to show up and shine.
If you would like to show up and shine on the Dr. Pat Show as a co-host or sponsor, send us an email to inspire@thedrpatshow.com.
And we are back. This is Leslie Fonteyne. You are listening to Sheer Alchemy. I want to give you some information about how to work with me. I do private sessions with people, and obviously on topics like this, private sessions are a good idea. So whether you're dealing with, the lessons that are being presented to you in finances, relationships, work, if things are presenting to you where you're not standing in your power, your inner child is really kind of doing the rebellious dance and not wanting you to create new dynamics with people in your life. There's some past lifetime things, some old hooks. You're feeling stuck in terms of the intuitive guidance. Many of us can get guidance about what we need to do next. For example, you set an intention. The intention really is based on a heart's desire, isn't it? It's based on something that's really, really important to you. That thing that's important to you is not an accident. It's not a mistake. And if it's inconvenient to everyone around you, it doesn't mean you don't do it. It's presenting in real time. You just say yes. You say, yes, this is what I want to do. And we'll talk about that later. And then, as you get guidance, which often is a blend of knowingness, understanding, what do I do next? Should I consult with someone? Do I need a mentor? Do I need to go back to school? Who do I contact? You start getting ideas that are based on action. And these are actions that you need to take. So what often happens for us is we get stuck. We stop there. And we use the word stuck as a euphemism for so many things, one of which is fear. I'm afraid to step out. I'm afraid to look like a fool. I'm afraid to be embarrassed. I'm afraid what people will think. I'm afraid I'll lose a bunch of money. This is where a lot of the work starts going in because we start hearing either energies from our ancestral line, our mom and dad, terrified of poverty. We could have the Dust Bowl in there, the Depression. We could have wars and holocausts and everything else that's affecting our energy field where we feel deep sadness and guilt and any kind of survivor's guilt. We can have so many things that present in our sessions. There's channeling, there's awareness, there's clarity about where to go, what to do next. So if you're interested in work like this, this is what I do. And back to the topic about relationships, we're talking about the relationships from an energetic level. If you're listening to this show today, the reason you're listening to this is that you have spiritual awareness. You aren't just tuned into this because it was the sports channel. You are listening to this because you have intuitive guidance and awareness that comes to you. And there's a part of your soul right now that has you listening right now to this topic because you haven't known what to do maybe about life lessons or difficult energies presenting in your life or certain situations where everything just seems to be imploding in your life or falling apart. If you really trace it and you go back all the way to some original intention or desire, often we will find that we made a request. We made an intentional, energetic motion in a direction either with regard to the relationship or to work or something. So the old had to go away. Don't mistake your panic at the personality level, at the core or inner child level, as a reason not to move forward. See, often we're so feeling based, and we think that, oh, this feeling's coming up. It's not the right time. It's not the right time. I need to do this when there's a good energy. Or we, release a job, for example. And when we release that job, there's terror that comes over us like, oh my gosh, who will I be now? How will I make money? All this kind of stuff. And we forget the guidance we got. We forget the action plan. And we just stay still, and we call that stuck. Or we call it catastrophic. Whatever it is. I want you to understand you're living in multiple dimensions, okay? You're not just in this 3D level where it's food, clothing, shelter, job, house, kids, partners, etc. You're living in multiple dimensions. So pay attention to where you feel the tightness, where you feel the problem, where you feel the difficulty when you're dealing with the situation that's arising as a result of a choice or a decision you made. If something is imploding, what had you committed to releasing a while back? Often we are getting what we've asked for, this or something greater, for the highest good of everyone involved, right? So sometimes when it looks a little messy, we think, oh, this couldn't be right. So I like to trace it back to what part of me likes everything to look pretty. What part of me doesn't want to have any chaos, wants it all to stay very structured, A, B, C, D, go linear, go in order, sequential, all that stuff. Sometimes things kind of have to fall apart for the new thing to be, built up. It looks great on paper until we're doing it in real life, doesn't it? It's kind of interesting. But I want you to know that when your inner child is acting up, your inner child didn't have money, didn't pay the bills, couldn't drive, couldn't go to the grocery store, had no power, had these really big grown-ups in his or her life that were dictating all the terms, all the rules. So here you are now, and you're the grown-up. But what is going on with the inner child? The inner child is surfacing for some work, surfacing for some security from you that you can take care of the situation. And you, on the other hand, are needing to connect at a higher level with the situation and go, I am not helpless. I am not without power. So often when we're in our relationships and we are attracting in some difficult lessons, and difficult might be, arguments or being diminished or abandonment or, infidelity or whatever is coming up. Okay, whatever is showing up. Typically, it's not the first time this has ever happened to you. And you may say, well, I never, had, someone abandon me, in a prior relationship. Well, you might have, if you go back to childhood or to another lifetime. So this thing is surfacing now to go, wow, what part of me am I abandoning? What part of me do I not connect with? What part of me am I not embracing and respecting and honoring and taking care of today? And if I was to take care of and honor and nurture myself today, what would that be like? What would that look like? And often when I ask these questions, the very next thought you might have is, well, I don't have the money for that. I can't go do that. I don't have time for that. Notice how quickly you shut down the guidance that's coming to you. I talk to so many people who really love the spiritual life, but when guidance comes and it doesn't match whatever form they think it should come through in logic or past patterns, they reject. Pay attention to this in yourself. I can tell you 1,000 places in myself where I can notice these kinds of patterns. But when I see it, I know I need to look within. I need to look at myself. What's going on with me? So when we're drawing in a partner, are we drawing them in, from a sexual aspect, from a spiritual aspect, from, they're our best friend, they're our companion. It's a past lifetime connection often. We feel just incredibly drawn to this one. But what you need to understand about life lessons is that it's not about martyrdom. It is not about endless suffering. Now, we can bring suffering on ourselves. We all know that, right? We can just do this thing over and over and over again until we get it. Often what I find is that when we're doing it over and over and over again, we're still playing the fixer. We want to fix the other person. So this goes back to a core issue within us, which is if I fix everything out there, I will be okay. Notice that. Really let that click with you right now. Just go as deep as you can with that one. If I fix everything out there, then I will feel better. If that person would do what I want, it will be better for me. If that person would be who I need them to be right now, I will be better. So turn those things around that you've put on someone else, put out there, and go, if I would give myself these things and respect these needs within myself and these choices within myself and the passions that I have in my life and the music I like and all these things that maybe perhaps you hide from your partner or hide from friends because you want to please. Then you start to live a new life. You start to live a life that's in integrity with your own energy. So the challenge I'd throw out to you today is for you to take a look at the parts of you that are accommodating to please. That if you please, then you get love. And what is love? Love in that case is very conditional, and it's not based on anyone really knowing you as you are known. Isn't that sad? So you really want to take a look at this. Obviously, there's a lot of therapeutic options for this, but I want you to look energetically at yourself, and I want you to think about some meditations that you could do just to release out any of these parts of you that have been so sad that you couldn't choose your own life, choose your own passions, live with your full heart, full on. All right? So all of this ends up not being a mistake. The problem occurs when we repeat endlessly and then we blame everyone else out there. When we do that, we don't grow. And this is our purpose. Our purpose is to shift. Our purpose is to continuously resolve these things. And imagine what we're teaching our children when we show them how we honor ourselves and respect ourselves. A message we learned very young, which we'll talk about some more in the next segment, is that we learn that when we take care of ourselves, we're selfish. When you take care of yourself, you are giving your best self out to everyone. You do not owe everyone all of your energy. You don't. So if you're living with energy vampires and you're living with people that siphon out all of your energy and you're too tired to step into your passions, there's a few things going on. One, you're drawing from an old place that you need to take a look at. And we might go into that fear, either here or on a private session. And then the other part is how to step fully into your passions and why it is that we keep cycling this over and over, that it's not okay to step into our best selves.
Are you and your family looking for one manageable lifestyle change that will positively impact your health? Look no further. That change begins inside your drinking glass. Learn how to put a lid on junk drinking by sipping from a recipe collection of colorful, fresh, tasty, wholesome fruit and vegetable blends. Get your copy now of Sip the Garden. Fun, easy drinks for a healthier family by T. Carey Mitchell. Visit lifestyle120.com for information on how to order.
Transformation Talk Radio is dedicated to the education and awareness of Lyme disease.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Lyme Talk Radio. I'm Dr. Pat, joined here by
Dr. Nusheen Darvish.
Dr. Pat Basili and Dr. Nusheen Darvish will be bringing the most innovative, groundbreaking information, research, treatment innovations, and stories from those it affects every day.
I'm so excited to be talking about this.
We have so much to share.
Dr. Darvish and I are planning to do is connect the dots.
People suffering with all sorts of chronic diseases, it's time. It is time for them to transform.
Tune into Lyme Talk Radio and help keep our mission strong.
For the loyal listeners out there that have been listening to this incredible show on Lyme disease, we are not going to let you down. We're going to come through stronger and enrich the platform for Lyme disease awareness through Lyme Talk Radio. The message will continue, the conversations will become stronger, and the healing epic.
Hey, everyone. This is Dr. Pat. I am so thrilled. I've had the honor of working with Leslie Fonteyne for the past year or so, and what she has created in her hit program, Sheer Alchemy, transcends what most of us get to listen to or hear in any point in time in our lives. But beyond that, Leslie is working with people all over the world, and she has created something phenomenal based on the feedback and input from the archangels, from the ascended masters, from the light beings, and most importantly, from each and every one of you. So if you want to change your life, if you're ready to step into your own version of sheer alchemy, please give Leslie a call at 678-665-3366. And why? Because this is what you're going to be prepared to do. Be amazed, and on your part, connect with the ascended masters that are there to help you custom make the life that you are meant to live.
Get ready to rid yourself of all that is weighing you down and holding you back from living the life you want for yourself. Coming Clean, The Art of Transparency with Catherine Moss is a hit show for women in recovery who are ready to live life on purpose. Tune in and let Catherine help you live your truth one day at a time. Live each Tuesday, 9 a.m. Pacific on TransformationTalkRadio.com.
TheAngelLady.net. 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 1-800-323-1790. 1-800-323-1790. Sue Storm. TheAngelLady.net.
And we are back. This is Leslie Fonteyne. You are listening to Sheer Alchemy. The number to call in if you're interested is 800-930-2819, 800-930-2819. I'd like to tell you a little bit about how to get in touch with me. You can go to my website, lesliefonteyne.com. That's LeslieFonteyne.com. You can reach me at 678-665-3366, and we can talk about, whether you're interested in working through some things that you're shifting in your life. I'm also teaching a class in August, and that is called Becoming the Hero in Your Own Life. And it's much of what we've been talking about today, which is how we fully step into our power, fully step into all that we are, and how to shift the blockages that are showing up. And many of us, we all have these places where we have sort of been a victim in our lives, and we learned it honestly. We really did. There's no blame in this. There's no blaming of, how did we get into this victim posture, whether it's, with bosses or certain energies that we attract over and over again at work. No matter where we go, we take ourselves, right? So we want to deal with the stuff that's showing up. So let's take a look at the kind of courage it takes to step into who we are and what we want to do. When we're having something not very pleasant show up in a relationship, often our reaction is very pained, right? We're hurt. We're upset. We can't believe this is happening. How did I do this? What am I doing here? I'm out of here. Whatever the reaction is, pay attention to everything that's coming up. It can be really visceral in our heart space, in our power center. So we want to go as deep as we can to the culprit in this thing. Where do we remember this feeling, this memory about ourselves? Where did people learn to treat us a certain way? How is it that we can walk into a room and in no time people start to treat us a certain way? So if we're truly honest and we pay attention to what's happening, we start to realize, wow, this isn't my first time at this rodeo. I have been going through this, over and over and over again, multiple times with multiple people. Do I want to address it? So we say yes. And then the next thing that comes up is, well, what will I have to give up if I address this particular unsavory situation? And that's where we can stop, all right? So I say often, no shame. There's no shame about this at all. It's totally okay to be recognizing this thing and maybe to even have a little grief like, wow, I've lost a lot of time. I've given up a lot of years of my dreams. Why did I do that? Why did I change? Why did I choose that? And then we want to clear it. If I release this, what will fill that place? So one thing that we learn from human land is that, if we get rid of something, nothing else fills that place. There's a gap. There's a hole within us, and it's scary. What we have to understand from Source and the light beings and shifting energy in our field is that when we choose to release something old and we want to upgrade our energy, we begin to attract from a new place. I often tell clients after I do a clearing with them, listen, by the way, we just moved this old stuff out. This new thing is going to start showing up and you may not recognize it. It is so true. Because if we have been living with toxic, difficult, painful patterns for a long time, and we shift out that old agreement that has us feeling very small and diminished, and someone shows up that is so far from what our life experience has been, that is respectful and honoring and fun and nurturing and all those things, we may not recognize it, believe it or not. We say we want it, but sometimes we don't see it. So this is what can happen when we choose to shift. The gap doesn't have to last very long. But remember that if you're concerned, ask yourself, what else have you been wanting? Did you ever make a vow? Did a vow surface even in another lifetime? I'm never going to go through this again. I'm never going to put up with that again. I will never have another relationship. Often we go deep and we find there are some other parts to our lives that, we didn't even know were there, that were blocking us from our future. So again, none of this is a mistake. Know the difference between a lesson and repeated toxic patterns that you no longer need. Understand that when we keep drawing in abusive situations, we don't need that. Often when we have a soulmate situation, I want to talk a little bit about soulmates and twin flames. Those are some of the most difficult relationships ever. Now, we can have a relationship with someone that we feel really spiritually connected to, but maybe have absolutely no spiritual conversation whatsoever. So we're thinking, what on earth is this? I feel so connected to this person. What is it? So often you have achieved a certain level of, current lifetime consciousness, and the other person has not. They act like they're completely shutting it all down. But in other lifetimes that you have shared these connections. I often find, too, that we may use words that are really off-putting to someone. And if we release the words and we use another way of having the conversation, it completely opens the other person to the dialogue with you. So notice where you've typically attracted from. If you have been terrified of security, terrified of not having money, terrified of not having someone in your life, your family, put some rules in your field and you completely drive your emotional bus from that place. Just take note of these things. We don't clear all this out at once. Okay, needs to be a gentle process. But take a look at some of the commitments you've made to yourself to create what you consider to be security. If your soul is presenting to say, you know what, we really need to move past this now, we can draw in support from another realm. We can draw in people that are more aligned. Notice where you tell yourself you can't do things because it'll be inconvenient to other people, or where you don't spend money because it's okay for the other person to spend but not for you, or where you give up all your time but the other person gets to do everything they want. These are things in your life that you've set up. So now take a look at it. Don't be totally alarmed. You don't need to be so upset, but document it for yourself. Take a look and you go, am I ready to release this? And what is the fear I have if I let this go? This is an energetic shift, right? So let's go into that right now. Some of you in the back of your neck and also really tight in your power center and your heart space. Let's go into that place right now and notice the fear that's coming up for you. Who will I be without this? Will I ever be loved again? What are the vows you've made? Just notice what's coming up for you. Okay? You see that? And now let's bring in the light beings, the masters, and let's see what you're allowing yourself to release and what you're allowing yourself to step into. What comes up for you? And now let's put some protection on around you. Notice where you've really let your energetic field be so porous. Just letting anybody come in and rent space in your field, use your energy. If you feel really tired around some people, there's a reason. So it's an opportunity to learn to protect your field. And let's release any of their energies that are in your field, putting them outside your field respectfully. And let's take a look at what it's like to be safe within your own field, just to even feel your own thoughts, your own emotions, your own energies. What are you thinking? What are you feeling? What are you desiring? Notice maybe where you rationalize your current situation, where you justify what you're tolerating, what you're doing, what you're learning. And ask yourself right now, am I learning? Or am I repeating because I'm afraid? And ask yourself if you're ready to release agreements that are based in fear and not in love. And notice if it comes up that if I release this agreement that's based in fear, I'll be in poverty, I'll never be loved again. Just pay attention to all the messaging that comes up for you right now. All the I can'ts, not now. I can't do that. I can't go there. All right? Don't be afraid right now. We haven't done anything. We're just going within here. So this is what I would share with you, is that these are your attraction points. This is where you are bringing in what you have now. And sometimes we have to go really deep and into a lot of layers energetically to release these blockages and these old interferences that you're ready to let go of. That's why they're showing up today. It's not to beat you up and make you feel bad and get angry. It's not just that. It's for you to see it and ask yourself, am I ready? Am I ready for my new life? Am I ready to release? And again, we're talking energetically, so let's not limit Source and the universe for how everything else unfolds after we do this release and we draw in a much higher vibrational agreement that is more nurturing and loving and honoring of all that we are. Okay? So remember, there's no shame in this. This is about fully stepping in to that beautiful essence of all that you are. You are so precious. You're here on purpose. So when we come back, we're going to talk about the other side of this and some of the work that we can do.
In retirement, will you outlive your money? It's a common question for people approaching retirement, but it doesn't need to weigh on you. Ask Ameriprise financial advisor Jeff Packman about the new Confident Retirement Approach. You and Jeff can break down retirement planning step by step to get the real answers you need. Call Jeff Packman, financial advisor, today at 425-453-0272. Office is located at 601 108th Avenue Northeast, Suite 1800, Bellevue, Washington, 98004. The Confident Retirement Approach is not a guarantee of future financial results. Investment advisory products and services are made available through Ameriprise Financial Services, Inc., a registered investment advisor. Ameriprise Financial Services, Inc., member of FINRA and SIPC.
Hi, this is Leslie Fonteyne. If you get clear and then return to the old patterns and blocks, and your answer to that healing is that you can't or you have to, then you may have a lot of fear that keeps you from choosing your greater good. There's no shame in not being ready. It just may not be time. But if it comes around again, let's try again. We shut ourselves down because we can't imagine another way of handling situations. Source is unlimited. Let's let go of the I can'ts and have to's and see what shows up. If you're ready to shift into your best life, visit lesliefontaine.com and let's talk about unfolding all that you want to be, do, and have. You'll find sessions, classes, and audio products to help remove the blocks and move you into your potential. And listen to my show, Sheer Alchemy, on Transformation Talk Radio, Wednesdays at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern.
Hi, I'm Tim Darter.
And I'm Steve Kramer.
Join us on Spirit Fire Radio. Discover how to add the mechanics of meditation to your day.
And watch yourself connect in a whole new way. Find the amazing moments in life's routines that often pass us by. Add to your awareness with Spirit Fire Radio.
Tune in each Wednesday at 9 a.m. for your weekly guide to practical mindfulness. And to learn more, visit www.spiritfireradio.com.
Hey everyone, this is Dr. Pat. I wanted to tell you about a new, powerful, and compelling play by Nicholas Vasili.
Coming to Seattle July 8th at the Palladium at Hale's Brewery.
The United States of China.
On one hand, a dedicated American patriot who would give her life for her country. On the other hand, someone who has been battling the injustice and corruption of America most of her life. And she is as confused as any American could be about what she truly believes in. My play, The United States of China, is about the trial of Miriam Hopkins, who is a metaphor for all that America stands for.
This is more than a play experience. It's a movement. It's a movement to create a new level of awareness. Knowledge is power, and we are powerful. Get your tickets today at americathestrong.com.
Walking around this old and empty house.
So hold my hand, I'll walk with you, my dear.
And we are back. This is the last segment of this show on relationships. And for many of you, you can see how deep this can go if you're really wanting to explore your soul purpose, your life lessons, your karma, your Akashic records. Oh my gosh, we could go on. Your energy fields that are surfacing, screaming, ready to be, freed up and released so that you can be all that you are, be all that you came to be that example of light and love. And I'm so honored to meet so many of you at my shows and, as clients and to watch the work you're doing. It's just so humbling. It's so amazing to watch. And to see the messages being channeled through right now. I can't tell you how incredible it is, a time that we are in right now as people are doing the work to shift. Are these tough times? Oh my gosh, if anybody is sensitive energetically, the last few months have been something else, have they not? So if you are feeling the onslaught of the energies and feeling like you need to rest, or sometimes feeling like you need to check out and go to a cave for a couple of days, you are right on track. So I want to tell you that I'm going to be on July 23rd at the Seattle Metaphysical Expo in Kent. I look forward to meeting some of you locally here. And then August 13th and 14th, I'm going to be at the Metaphysical Show in Ocean Shores. So look me up, and if you want to do any work, if you feel ready, then this is really some profound stuff that gives you the chance to step into all that you are. You are not too old. You're not too young. You're not too unsuccessful or too successful. You're not too sick. Many of us are really going through a lot of things right now. And when we start looking at it from the perspective of spirit, it is incredible. This is not just, you looking at your life and deciding if you are a failure or not a failure based on some superficial data that you're looking at, whether you've got enough money or you have a relationship or things are a mess at work or at home or whatever it is. What we're going to see is that you are not just being evaluated at this superficial level. Some of you are carrying immense vibrations in the earth. Some of you are doing collective work that is such a gift to the planet. We are shifting some major things in the world. And as we can see from elections all over the world, there is a real reaction going on but carry that light. Be who you are. Just need to tell you that so that some of you who are doing so much energetically, some of you are working at night, all night long in the astrals, okay? So give yourself a break if I'm speaking to you. And thank you for your service. Thank you for the work that you do for all of us. So when you think about a relationship, twin flames, soulmates, work people, the people that you draw into your life, that you have just really overwhelming energetic connections with, none of this is superficial. And it's all a gift. And it's an opportunity for you to choose, to shift, to grow, and to bring a whole group of people along with you. So if you're interested in doing this kind of work, I hope you'll reach out to me at lesliefonteyne.com, LeslieFonteyne.com, and pay attention to the messages that are surfacing within your field. I was talking earlier about our energy field not being a dumping ground and learning how to protect our field. I have talked to many clients who sometimes will tell me, I don't even know what I think or feel anymore because they're so overwhelmed with some of the energy drains that they've attracted in their lives, either, in their relationships or at work. And they're so porous and they've never learned how to protect their field. Learning how to protect your field, if you've never really done it before, can take a little time to learn how to do that. That's something I definitely teach, and I'll be teaching that in my Becoming a Hero in Your Own Life class starting in August. So do check that out on my website. But we have to learn the tools. We go to college, we get a master's degree, we get a PhD, but for whatever reason, we think in spirituality that whatever we do, it should take 10 minutes, no more. We shouldn't really have to invest. Or if we're wanting to check in our higher self and go, what's the guidance coming to me? If it doesn't come in an hour, we're just very impatient. Many of us have so many filters. We haven't learned to listen. We haven't learned to hear. And we haven't learned to protect ourselves. All right? So allow yourself a little space. If you want to learn how to do this, I can definitely teach you. But protecting your field allows you to get closer to the integrity of your own energy. All right? So if our heart is going in one direction and our power center is going in another, and our mental field is feeding us a bunch of messages about right and wrong and who we should and shouldn't be, and our emotional field is depressed and heavy and carrying a lot of sadness in it or a lot of emotion, then we're going to have a lot of conflict going on in our field. So sometimes when an event shows up, it's there to draw our attention to the fact that we're a little discordant, we're disconnected, and we need to get aligned, okay? So let this, again, be the opportunity for you to take a look at what the messaging is that's coming in for you. Like, wow, my emotions are all over the place. Or when I'm with certain people, I feel absolutely aligned. I hear myself clearly. I know what my own voice is. I feel my passions. And then when I'm with this person over here, I feel confused, intimidated, diminished, coerced. All those things are coming up. Those are energies. So we're not saying anything bad about those people, by the way. This is an agreement that you have. So we want to shift some of that coercion, some of that enabling, some of that fixing so that they'll like you, right? That's why some of us do this, is to be liked. We don't like conflict. We're terrified of conflict. There's a reason for many of us that we don't like conflict. But sometimes when we're stepping into our power and speaking our truth, it needs to not be in reaction to someone. It needs to be just being stated like, I really like blue. I really want to go to China. I really want to build a house on the water. So these are not in reaction to someone else. This is you just stating your truth. Often in our communication with partners, we can be a bit passive and reactive. So take a look at all of this. This is a lot of information to take a look at in our relationships about why we're choosing. We're not creating, we're not criticizing anybody for who they are in our lives because we have drawn them in. We've brought them to this place. We've chosen this lesson. So now what do we want to do? And if we learn how to bring in ascended masters and archangels, and we learn how to protect our field, and we learn how to get other people's energies out of our field so we can even hear ourselves and know what our truth is, the opportunity is so grand. It is so fantastic. It is a life changer. It is an absolute life changer. The things that we can do just sitting in a quiet meditative state, beginning to shift and to clear and protecting our field are so profound, so amazing. And then we step onto our life path. A lot of us have been on tape delay. We've been hanging back, not really stepping into who we are. And we want to explain to everyone why we haven't done it and why we're not stepping into it and what we're afraid of. And for many people, it's lack of love and finances. That's it. So if those are your buttons, understand that right now your agreements are at that level. What can you do now to change? What can you do now to choose differently? You are going to be amazed. You are not going to be dropped. You are not going to be abandoned. You are not going to be destitute. But you are going to discover your inner truth, your inner power, and you're going to find out that people love your powerful self. They love who you are in all of your magnificent truth. So I hope this has been a really powerful show for you, a lot to think about. I look forward to hearing from some of you when we talk again. We'll be going forward into some of the areas that we do this with money as well. Until next time, this is Leslie Fonteyne.
You've been listening to the hit show Sheer Alchemy with Leslie Fonteyne on TransformationTalkRadio.com. Tune in each month to Sheer Alchemy with Leslie Fonteyne to stir up your passions, remove your blocks, and shift into an entirely new existence. Gifted, shifted, and powerful is what this show is about. Visit TransformationTalkRadio.com and LeslieFonteyne.com for showtimes and dates. Contact Leslie at LeslieFonteyne.com to schedule a transformative session that removes your blocks so that you can say yes to explosive abundance. You will not be the same.
The preceding audio was via a Skype call.